Hello and welcome to After Sound Review, and this is my review for the Kbear Neon. First of all, thank you for keephifi for providing me with this review unit, and just like usual, I will review them from the build, fit, frequency response, and comparison. And when I'm talking about the build quality of this IM, it's definitely an eye candy when we're talking about the aesthetic. Looking really great with this transparent blue and red housing, but the housing itself, it doesn't feel really durable for me because it's all resin and the nozzle is using aluminum, I think. And the cable itself is actually detachable and using dual pin connectors, and the cable itself actually feels good in my hand. It's durable, it's quite flexible, and it's a little bit on the thicker side. It's only one braid on the upper side and it's twisted on the lower side. And here's the thing I need to tell you about. I am having a little bit of struggle when it comes to the fitting of this IM. I have three problems exactly. First of all, it's quite a long IM, so if you have already tried such a long IM like this, such the Ademonics, and also this is my X1 Energy X01. It's definitely looking the same. They are quite hard to be used over ear, so you need to wear them straight down, and you need to really get a deep fit with this kind of IM or you won't get the bass. So, and using the stock ear tips, the stock ear tips, no matter what kind of size I've tried, I always finding myself struggling with the tips. It doesn't really stable enough, it doesn't go deep enough. First of all, I need to say that I have small Asian ears, so it might be not the problem with you, but nevertheless I need to say that. And also, you need to wear them straight down. You need to wear them quite deep into your ears. And the cable itself doesn't really help, because even though it feels quite durable, it looks good definitely, but it's a little bit on the heavy side, especially when you wear them in a straight down position, and it doesn't give clip. I really hope that it gives clip, so it will help with the heaviness of the lower end of this cable. So yeah, that's all. I think that's some notes that I need to give to the Kbear, but nevertheless, if you already get a really good fit, and for me, I need to use this orthophone, or maybe using some of my ear tips that are double flange or triple flange, that they'll definitely helps the fit much better. And then let's talk about the frequency response. Okay, so this is the frequency response of the Kbear Neon, and I have to say that through the frequency response itself, it is looking really flat, but I need to remind you that this is a raw frequency response and it is not compensated by pinna gain or DF neutral or anything like that. So this is not neutral for me, this is warm-ish neutral. Somehow the bass is fairly flat, and then the upper mid-range is not as DF neutral as I'd like to be, as I thought it would be, because this is my Swanergy X01, which is maybe the toned down version of the Etymotech ER4 XR. It is much more DF neutral-ish. It has much more pinna gain around the 3K area, and also better extension in the treble, while the Kbear Neon is already rolled off after the 3K. And this is what makes the Kbear Neon sounds really warm for me and not really extended, and this part is only the coupler resonance around the 8K. So yeah, it's really neutral-ish warm for me. And this is how is it compared to the Tin Hi-Fi T2plus. Tin T2plus definitely feels much more energetic, both in bass and treble area, giving it much more energy, but at the same time it feels much more V-shaped. And that's exactly what happened with the Moondrop Stardust. And again, I need to tell you that the Stardust is a little bit warmer version of the SSR, that the Moondrop Stardust still looks much more V-shaped compared to the Kbear Neon. But Stardust has more upper mid-range compared to the Tin T2 Plus or the X1 Energy X01. So for me, the Kbear Neon, I could simply say it's definitely neutral-ish warm, or simply warm for some people. So yeah, through my source, my i5 XDSD, and also the Qlix 5K, and also iBasso DX160, it's not really hard to drive this Kbear Neon. But here's the thing, when we are talking about the sound, if you like V-shaped kind of song, it's literally the opposite of it. If you like a fun and expressive kind of sound, an exciting one, it won't give you that. I need to tell you that first, so you won't expect anything fun from it. But on the other side, it sounds really tidy. It's really the separation itself is actually quite good, but in a very soft manner. I can't help that. No matter what, when I'm playing them, it's like I'm eating on sugar candy like that, because how sweet, how mellow, how soft the texture of this IM is. It doesn't really have this much of an impact in the bass, and also this edginess in the treble that gives you this exciting feeling, but on the other side gives you this kind of softness from it. It's really soft and might get you addicted, especially on the vocal section, because it's never give me any fatigue. It's just really a laid back one. Okay, let's just talk about the bass. The bass itself is definitely what you would expect from a single balance armature driver. It won't give you this punchy bass, that bouncy sub bass. Oh, you won't get that. But instead, you get this very fast bass that still give you that oomph. So it's not like but it's like it's really fast and doesn't give you enough decay or enough punch to play the EDM, but the bass is there. It's not completely without bass, it's just not punchy enough maybe for some of you that likes EDM. But for me, for some songs like the some acoustics, it definitely still gives you enough bass. And when we are talking about the mid-range, it is the star here. It's definitely the spotlight of this IM, just like what it said. The vocal hit the soul. And for me, you need to try them for a few times before you can hear it. Maybe because when I tried them at the first time, what I'm thinking is definitely, oh man, this is really mellow, it's too mellow. But after I get myself sometimes to get used to how it sounds, it's really a smooth and soft tonality with really soft texture. So when I'm playing some music, even though it is a rock song or pop song, or maybe some acoustic, the vocal always pops out and it never going in the edgy side. It never goes hard, it never goes to sibilance. It's just really soft and warm vocal. It suits male vocal better for me rather than the female vocal. Honestly speaking, for my ears, the female vocal could get a little bit of upper mid-range. For my own perspective, for my own taste, I think I'd like to give them around 1 or 2 decibel, around the 3K area. But nevertheless, the texture, it's what I'm getting at this IM. It's hell of a smooth IM. If you play Joyce Chu, Olivia Ong, Ed Sheeran, even Justin Bieber or Ariana Grande, you will never get that edginess, that sibilance, that pickiness that you might get at some IMs at some songs. But in here, you will get that very forward vocal in a very soft texture. It's really unique, because at this price point, I've never heard at this IM. Oh, let me tell you, and if you're accustomed to it, when you hear another IMs, it gets harsh for my ears. It's just how smooth this IM is. And the treble, again, because this is a single band armature and I actually expect this before, you don't really get an extension around the treble area, so the cymbal crash and some flute or violins in the upper region, in the upper frequency, won't really get that shininess, won't really get that edginess and that bite when it comes to the treble section. It's just a really soft treble. It's definitely not for you who are treble heads. It's just too soft for me. It rolls off too quickly, but I think that's in line with the vocal section that gives this smoothness and softness in that area. And when it comes to technicalities, it's a wide IM for sure. The sound stage is really wide, but it doesn't really have the depth, so it's not really 3D. For me, it's only two-dimensional. It's only left and right, and honestly speaking, it's quite long. So yeah, when I'm throwing some, you know, some live music at it, it just feels like it's expanding to your left and right, but it doesn't really have this kind of 3D-ness, and just missing the 3D-ness when I'm hearing for some IMs. And the separation level is actually good, but you might get that this is a very blunt IM because of the treble roll-off that may be too quickly for some. So for you who are trying to get the details from this IM, I suggest you to hear them quite long, because when you hear them for the first time, you might hear that, oh, this is too soft, I don't hear details. That details usually comes from the treble area, but try to hear them longer, and you might see yourself that you might hear some details that actually the separation is quite good. So for me, you just need to try them for a bit long of time to really appreciate this IM, because I have, and I'm really appreciating them. And for just a matter of fact, I've been using them for some days right now, and I'm really enjoy using them. It's just when you hear them for the first time, it might be too mellow for you, but the vocal is definitely the star here. So let's get to the comparison. I have some IMs that are in its price point and really get some good attention. This is the Moondrop Stardust, and this is the T2plus. They are all around the same price point, but the Stardust is actually if you are not familiar with the Moondrop Stardust, but you are familiar with the Moondrop SSR, just imagine that this is an SSR with a little bit of warmthness at it. Okay, the Kbear Neon is definitely the smoothest one here. It's the most, I could say, the most organic vocal straight from all of this IM. If you have tried this Kbear Neon before and already accustomed and already appreciate to how it sounds, no matter which two you hear them, it will definitely gives you this kind of harshness in the vocal, and the vocal could get really cold and really thin, so that the male vocal, it's kind of squished in some songs. Yes, the Stardust is definitely a thin sounding IM, but with good amount of detail and huge amount of upper mid-range. And this T2plus, I could say that they are a bit of V-shape-ish if we are talking compared to the DF neutral. So for me, if we are comparing them all, the T2plus is the most V-shape, giving the bloomiest bass and the thickest bass, also the most sparkling treble. And this Moondrop Stardust is the most upper mid forward IM, with giving a lot of details at the upper mid range section. So definitely for female vocals, giving you a lot of edge, a lot of details, but sometimes could get sibilant and could get a little bit harsh. And this Kbear Neon is definitely the smoothest out of them all, and it's the least exciting because the bass punch is a lot punchier in these two, especially in the T2plus. So that's all for me. Oh yeah, when we're talking about technicalities, the Stardust is the most detailed for me, the T2plus is the most 3D, but the Kbear Neon is the most wide, and also it's the most controlled. You know, these two IMs could get sibilance in some places, could get some harsh cymbal crash, and could get a lot of mid-range, upper mid-range section. But this Kbear Neon, no matter what kind of song you throw at it, it will always place it safely. So that's all from me. In conclusion, if you wanna try this Kbear Neon, try them for a bit longer, maybe half an hour or maybe an hour, before you decide whether you want to buy them or not, because for me this is not not a really versatile kind of IM. It's not an all-rounder, but if you like this kind of sound, you won't get anything like this in this price range. Okay, that's all from me. I hope you like this review, and if you have any question, please write down in the comments below, and see you next time. Bye bye.